See you later, sucker! Hi everyone! Look who I brought with me! It's Vaggie! Now, Vaggie, struggling won't bring you anywhere. Just sit tight and enjoy the show. It's all about you today. Just you. Vaggie, the secondary protagonist of Hazbin Hotel. She first debuted in the YouTube pilot in the year 2019, but her origins go way back as a humble OC made by the director and artist Vipsy Pop. Later on, when the official series premiered on Prime Video, she quickly gathered a huge reputation and following, although her perception was a bit mixed. Some people didn't like her, and others loved her so much. There are even those who didn't care about her at all. Where do I find myself when it comes to Vaggie? Well, I'm none but all at the same time. Does it make sense? I don't like her character, or precisely, her lack of character. However, at the same time, I love her backstory so effing much. A cold-hearted killer sent down from heaven every year to slaughter sinners on examination day, but she faced a traumatic incident that caused the loss of her eye and wings. She was banished from heaven for defying her duty by sparing a sinner. She was soon discovered and rescued by the Princess of Hell, and through her kindness, Vaggie's worldview changed, and she started working alongside Hell against heaven. It's really such a poetic past that should have made Vaggie very nuanced. If only any of this was true. As always, in the show's fumbled execution, Vaggie has the most convoluted, inconsistent, and insulting backstory I have ever seen. And believe me when I say, I have seen so many bad ones. So, for today, I decided to dissect her backstory to show you, dear viewer, everything wrong with it. You might agree, you might disagree. Whatever you're feeling, share your thoughts down in the comments. There is nothing better than seeing people discuss my favorite characters. And now, no longer overdue, let's start! At the start of examination, Vaggie was one of the top soldiers. She was so talented that Adam said she was his top bitch. He also revealed that she killed thousands in only like 3 examinations. 3 examinations. 3 days. She killed thousands in only 3 days. Is that even possible? It could be that Adam has lied, which I highly doubt. There weren't any instances of him lying or implying he's a compulsive liar. And it doesn't make sense to lie to the very person he's lying about. And even if he did, Vaggie should have corrected him. I mean, she wouldn't want Adam to make her look worse than she already is to Charlie. Or it could be that Vaggie did kill thousands of sinners, and possibly she was the only exorcist to reach this number. I'm more inclined to believe it. Let me explain my theory. Lut has killed 275 souls in the last examination, and Adam's face reaction when he heard it indicates it's an impressive and unusual number that Lut wouldn't typically reach. So Lut's kill count should average between 100 to 150 souls per examination, excluding the last one. In total, she has approximately killed 875 to 1175 souls during all the examinations. Considering Lut is the lieutenant, it wouldn't be far-fetched to assume her kill count is significantly higher than the regular exorcist. Each one has an average of 50 to 100 souls per examination, and the total is 350-700 souls over 7 years for each individual exorcist. However, Vaggie has killed thousands, plural, so she killed at least 2,000 souls, but I am more in favor of a minimum of 3,000 souls. Adam could have instead said a couple of thousands if she reached only the former number. If we go with 3,000, then Vaggie has killed 1,000 souls per examination. That's insane! Almost 10 times more than the rest of exorcists make. She might have had one of the biggest harmful impacts on Hell next to Adam, single-handedly causing so many victims. It shapes the idea that Vaggie was not just a ruthless soldier, but a killing machine. But one day, for some reason, out of nowhere, she said, yeah, no, I'm not gonna kill anyone. I'm gonna spare the sinner. Why, you wonder? Because the sinner appears like a child. And don't you fucking tell me that it's a child. It's not a child. It's hell. This sinner is a cannibal. Appearance isn't enough to assume it's a child. We have seen so many times how sinners can come in very small childlike sizes. Nifty and Baxter are both small sinners that feel and act like children, but they aren't. They are actual adults, so it can be the same thing with this sinner. And it can also be an irony. The show does establish that sinners' appearance is a punishment for their sins and serves as a hint of the kind of lifestyle they had back on Earth. Perhaps they look like a child because when they were alive, they used to eat children, and when they reincarnated in hell as a punishment or as a form of irony, they appeared like, a child. If that's the case, then it's even more fucked up that Vaggie has spared a child-eating cannibal. But don't take that seriously, this is just my own speculation and nothing was confirmed by the writers, so I could be wrong. Although, I'm still convinced they aren't a child. They're just a cannibal sinner that happens to look like one. There is no way they are children in hell, because if there were, you're telling me Charlie decided that the sinners, the adults, the rapists, the killers, the war criminals should be given bigger priority and get redeemed while ignoring the actual children? Instead of building a hotel to redeem sinners, why doesn't she build a kindergarten? Why isn't the show called Has-Been Kindergarten? I'm gonna tell you why, because they are no children. But then you're gonna ask me again, why the sinner resembles a child in the first place? Because it is a ploy the show uses to trick the viewer into sympathizing with the sinner and understanding Vaggie's actions without actually putting effort into writing a real character arc for her. The show doesn't want to waste its precious runtime establishing a morally grey sinner to challenge the validity of examination. It has always been a recurring pattern for Has-Been Hotel to take shortcuts to skip over the development, the philosophy, the question, the morality for the sake of underpicked moments. It uses something that on the surface seems to fit the story, but when you think about it for more than 2 seconds, it doesn't make sense at all. It just ruins the show as a whole. Vaggie, in some miracle, decided this specific sinner should be spared, even though she had no problem killing thousands of sinners in the last examinations, and literally moments ago she was going on a killing spree. It's a different story if Vaggie had a reputation of struggling to kill sinners, but she did kill them, amazingly. I'm actually confused, why did the show make her like this? The writers could have easily said that Vaggie was incompetent and treated as an outcast. She was so useless that Adam had enough with her and decided to kick her out because she couldn't do her job. See how easy and clean that was? With this, a lot of inconsistencies would have been solved. But the show didn't do that. They made her an excellent murder machine. And to be fair, I actually was more in favor of this direction than making her fall on good from the start. It makes Vaggie much more complex and nuanced. You're left on the edge of your seat waiting for her redemption arc, and to make amends for what might be considered the worst crime committed out of the main cast. It makes sense, right? To assume this is the direction his plotline should go. After all, the core theme of Has-Been Hotel is redemption, turning a bad character into a good one. Right? Right? Guys? Yeah, no. Vaggie has always been a good person. She never needed redemption. It's tragically hilarious. A show about redemption doesn't give redemption arcs to its characters. The bad characters stay bad forever, the good characters stay good forever. Well, except for Sarah, but that's a topic for another day. Also, can I add a new point? It's funny that, coincidentally, a child-coded sinner has appeared right in front of Vaggie, and coincidentally, Vaggie has decided that this sinner will be spared after she axed hundreds of souls before that. And coincidentally, Adam and Lut had found her sparing the sinner, so they kicked her out. And coincidentally, Charlie found Vaggie and tended her wounds, and they fell in love at first sight. It's so obvious the writers didn't think it through. They just slapped this backstory on at the last minute as a quick way to explain how Vaggie stopped being an angel and ended up in hell. It's a series of coincidences. It's not impactful at all. Vaggie's worldview was never challenged. We don't see why she changed her mind, and we weren't even allowed to see her contemplate. When you start questioning your life purpose and beliefs, you don't suddenly stop doing what you believe in. You go through a grieving period. You might feel lost and try to double down on denial, or you try to seek more answers, having an open mind. However, Vaggie doesn't go through any of that. She just changes her mind on a whim without any explanation. When you see her as a person created for the system and excelled in it, don't you think it would be more fascinating if she actually questioned the system? I'm kinda curious, was it just a fluke? Was she planning to continue sparing more sinners in the future if she wasn't caught? Or would she just resume killing sinners? Why did she spare that sinner specifically? Is it because they looked cute and sad? This seems to be the only plausible explanation the flashback presents. Though I wish it's not the case, because is that really all you need to be spared by Vaggie? Looking cute and harmless? It's strange. This is Vaggie we're talking about. The exorcist who wiped out thousands of souls suddenly gets hesitant about killing a sinner? And she should have known better. This is hell. They are sinners. They act non-threatening to trick people all the time. Like how the overlords act. Vox creates a fake persona with the reporters. Rosie acts nice, sweet, and innocent, but in reality she's just as horrible. The radio demon himself puts on a white smile, acts polite and respectful, but he's a sadistic monster. Weirdly, she falls into the trap in this flashback and spares that sinner. It almost feels justifiable for Adam to kick her out. How can she be so stupid to lower her guard and let a demon go? What if the sinner used it as an opening to attack her? What if they were luring her into the trap so other demons could join in and pack them up? I'm not really defending Adam and Lut or the exterminations. I'm just pointing out how out of character Vaggie is acting. Vaggie knows better than anyone that demons always take advantage of someone assuming the good in others. She's the voice of reason and the one to ground Charlie's delusional optimism when it comes to sinners. It's Charlie who has to pressure her into giving them a chance. Her backstory contradicts her present-day interpretation. And if you say it's valid to have Vaggie change between the two periods, since the backstory shows character development, but the thing is, this isn't character development, it's character regression. There is zero logic behind her mindlessly antagonizing sinners when the very thing that got her into hell is her giving mercy to a sinner. And generally, a backstory shouldn't be used for character development. What's the point of starting the story with the character already having learned the lesson? The backstory is more of a tool to explain how a character became the way they are in the present day, what shaped their worldview, how they interact with others, what their dream goals are, and more importantly, it helps you understand the character on a deeper level by revealing a hidden layer that recontextualizes all their actions and decisions. For example, in Bridgerton, Anthony, the eldest brother of the Bridgerton family and the Viscount, has tons of negative traits in the first two seasons. He's strict, overbearing, values the approval of the upper-class society over his siblings' comfort, and doesn't want to marry out of love. He starts off pretty unlikable and at times frustrating. You can comfortably view him as the main antagonist in Season 1. And no surprise, when Anthony became the main protagonist of Season 2, he remained flawed until meeting his love interest, Kate, who helped him identify his flaws and develop into a loving husband, brother, and son. But what really changed my impression on Anthony was his backstory. Spoilers, by the way. If you don't want to hear it, then skip this timestamp. It revealed he's the way he is as a result of a traumatic incident when he witnessed his father die right in front of him, later on having to deal with his mother almost dying due to pregnancy. He had to take on so much responsibility at such a young age, and wasn't allowed the same freedom to explore who he is or what he wants as his siblings. And worst of all, he had to sit through his mother getting so depressed out of grief, unable to help her. You can understand how all that pressure has turned him into this cold, distant person who can't get attached to anyone. The thought of someone loving him so much it becomes painful if something were to happen to him terrifies Anthony. He pushes people away because he cares. He doesn't want to make them feel what his mother felt when his father passed away. Coming back to the present day, or when you rewatch the show again, you form this new appreciation for his character. Your feelings of hate have turned into empathy because you now fully understand him. You want him to heal, to improve. This isn't the case for Vaggie. Her backstory doesn't explore her character, it flattens it. Rather than answering the already asked questions about her, it creates new ones that lead to bigger plot holes. Her backstory says Vaggie has changed in that incident, but at the same time, she has always been a good person. I know that might sound crazy, but when you actually pay attention to her story, you will notice something doesn't add up. The show acts like she was better than the rest of the exorcists, but she wasn't any different. In fact, she may be the worst exorcist in the army. If Adam used to like her, then she must have been so awful. You can't just make a character participate in extermination, something the show constantly reminds the viewer that it's the most horrible crime one can commit in this universe, and not have them take responsibility for their actions. Instead of making Vaggie meet her victims, the people who witnessed her killing their loved ones, instead of Vaggie going through guilt or making Vaggie question her morality, she's giving this sloppy backstory to shield her from all that. Vaggie doesn't need to be criticized because there was never anything wrong with her. It's Adam and Lut again, the biggest bads of the biggest bads in human history. Once again, Adam is used to justify Vaggie, like how he was used to justify every other character. Now Adam is gone, Vaggie is free. She can be fully good without any obstacles. This is my biggest gripe with Has-Been. It doesn't treat morality as a conflict inside someone. It treats morality more as an external obstacle. I wouldn't mind it in any other show, but this show is about redemption, so why does it have such a skewed morality stance? Vaggie doesn't have a morality of her own. She doesn't have any sense of good or bad. Everything about her outside that flashback is non-existent. She's just Charlie's girlfriend. She gets angry for Charlie's cause. She gets along with the other sinners for Charlie's cause. She runs the hotel for Charlie's cause. She goes on to attack her own kind for Charlie's cause. She does everything because of Charlie. Vaggie can't exist without her. She has wrapped herself around Charlie like a parasite. Not once does she state she's doing any of this out of her own volition. In reality, she hates sinners. She shames them and constantly looks down on them, never hesitating to try and kill them with her angelic weapon. Remember Serpentius? How she was so ready to stab him with her angelic spear, and if Charlie told her, "Yeah, go on, kill him, I don't care," Vaggie would have done it without breaking a sweat. This is why her backstory doesn't make sense, because in the present day, Vaggie takes her spear with her everywhere and tries to attack the first demon that inconvenienced her, even though the reason why she ended up in hell is that she spared the sinner. Overall, she now just does whatever Charlie tells her regardless of how good or bad it is, and it can be a compelling flaw. Exploring a character who lacks their own moral stance in a show that explores the concept of redemption and what makes people good or bad would have made Has-Been Hotel truly a one-of-a-kind show. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. Nobody calls her out. Everyone is okay with her being an exorcist. In season 2, she flies around them with her massive angelic wings and nobody cares. Nobody comes to the hotel to take revenge on Vaggie or do anything like that. Vox doesn't exploit this fact for his own advantage. The entire cast immediately accepts her. This is so baffling. It's different if Vaggie has turned 180 and swore to herself to never harm a sinner or use her weapon ever again as an act of redemption. But no, she still attacks sinners and threatens them with her spear. It's this never-ending battle between the context and the narrative. The context establishes Vaggie as a bad person, but no, the narrative says Vaggie didn't do anything wrong. We're barely halfway through and it's already gotten so negative. Why don't we switch to a more light-hearted topic? How about that? Okay, so I have something to say. It might surprise you, but I don't hate everything about season 1's flashback. There is something that I do enjoy, and it is Vaggie not knowing the angelic weapons can harm angels. Now hear me out. I never understand why it was such a huge controversy. Most of the critics I watched have all said it was a plot hole, but I disagree. For once, I came here to defend Has-Been Hotel. Just think about it. Vaggie was the first angel canonically to get hurt by these weapons, and who was there to witness that incident? It's Vaggie, of course, Lut, and Adam. How come 3 people with different intelligence levels don't deduce from this incident that angelic weapons can harm angels? Simple. There was a logic behind it. When Vaggie spared the sinner, she broke the rules, and it was stated that heaven cares about the rules more than anything, perhaps to the point that if an angel breaks one, some divine judgment is cast upon them to fall. The moment Vaggie broke the rules, she stopped being an angel. In other words, she turned into a fallen. It was never determined by Adam, as many people assume. I really don't think he could have brought her back to heaven because she was already corrupted. And there was physical evidence to it. Vaggie's skin tone turned grey and purplish, and her eyes changed to the color red. But the biggest damning evidence is her halo. Lut managed to yank it off. Do you really think angels can take another angel's halo with that ease? It would make sense that this phenomenon can't happen unless the angels fall. So usually, the halo remains an intact part of the angel's body and won't stay on if they are no longer eligible. Wait, hold on. This sounds familiar.
Every one of them, no one gets to play. Is my halo on? I'm gonna shit my pants. What the fuck is wrong? Is my halo on? I'm gonna shit my pants. Halo on. Yeah, don't disturb it, that clown. You know there's no stopping it.
Interesting. Anyway, if this was the line of logic Vaggie, Lut, and Adam had, then they won't be surprised when Vaggie did get hurt by Lut's sword thanks to her falling. She was no longer classified as an angel, but as a demon. You hear that? Don't you ever slander my babies ever again. They're smart, okay? But sometimes they get confused. Just leave them alone. I think that's all there is to say about the first flashback. Now on to the second one. The second flashback was earlier in the timeline, and it's kinda ambiguous when exactly it took place. At the first, second examination, or maybe right before Vaggie got punished. Heck, it could be way before the examination started. But what we know for sure is this flashback isn't about Vaggie. It isn't even about Adam and Lut. It's about this new nameless exorcist we've never seen before. Yay! Who is she? I have rewatched this flashback over and over, and I can't tell what it serves to Vaggie's story. We already know Adam and Lut are evil incarnate and they have abused every breathing being in their vicinity. So what's the point in wasting screen time re-establishing the same thing once again? Especially since Adam died and Lut won't ever play a big part in the plot. Does it act as a plot twist? Oh, the degenerate exorcists happily skipping to slaughter sinners are actually abused victims forced to participate in the examination. But their brutal demise was never acknowledged by a single character, not even by Sarah. It was treated more like a one-off joke. Yeah, you know how funny it is to see indoctrinated and enslaved women getting eaten alive by cannibals. And it's even funnier when it gets dismissed by the supposed pacifist characters who won't bother to throw a funeral for them because they're so busy helping the murderers and rapists enter into heaven. Really fun shit, guys. There is another thing I don't get. Why is Vaggie shown caring about that exorcist? I heard a lot of theories about them being lovers or something like that. If that's so, then Vaggie has a serious problem. In both the past and present, she is shown to only care about the person she's sleeping with. The exorcist being abused and dying doesn't matter to her unless it's her girlfriend who gets abused. The sinners getting exterminated is the last of her concerns until it's her girlfriend who wants to save them. This proves Vaggie's moral compass is purely based on the person she attached herself to. Kinda creepy, don't you think? And I can't see her giving a shit about the other exorcists. Do you remember how in the season 1 finale she was mercilessly killing them in cold blood? Okay, kill them, Vaggie, defend your loved ones, do that, no shame, girl. But why are you doing it with so much ease? How come you're not showing just a hint, just a frame of animation, a tear in your eye, doubt, hesitation, anything, literally anything? It's not a big request, really. They did this exact thing to Charlie. She's the one who hesitates and apologizes. But Vaggie is the complete opposite. This might be the happiest we've seen her so far. Would it be ironic if the exorcist Vaggie cared about had been killed on that very battlefield by her or by one of the cannibals? Wouldn't that be funny? She doesn't care about her anymore after she found a new girlfriend and switched sides. Even if Vaggie didn't care about them, she should have known they don't have any say in what's happening. It's only Adam and Lut. So why does she go and kill the soldiers that are being forced to participate in the extermination, but spares Lut? Wasn't Lut the crazy one who wants to kill everyone, even crazier than Adam? And she told us why she didn't kill her. Her mercy isn't because of good nature, it's out of ego. She knows letting Lut live is way more painful than just killing her off. That's really sadistic of her, and I don't mind it because, yeah, I know Lut has inflicted great pain on Vaggie, but in some way the show justifies Vaggie while demonizing Lut. However, it refuses to acknowledge this bigger tragedy. None of them has a say in it. Vaggie, Lut, or the exorcist, no one has a say in what they are doing. Lut is just doing her job. Yes, she's cruel, she's evil, but she's still doing her job. The job created by Sarah and Adam. The show saying Lut facing abuse is a good thing, but Vaggie? No. The abuse she had made her a victim. She did the extermination because she was a victim. Therefore, she can't be an oppressor of the sinners. It's another weird mentality the show has about victims. A person can be victimized and victimize others at the same time. This is another way the show tries to minimize the impact of the extermination. It doesn't focus on the victims in hell. Instead, it focuses on how traumatizing it is for the rulers and soldiers who are the ones who committed the genocide. It gives me the ick. And if Vaggie was indeed forced to exterminate, why did she kill thousands? Lut have killed only a couple of hundreds, and Adam praised her for it. So Vaggie could have stuck to the bare minimum, 30, 50. She didn't have to go through all that if she truly cared about the sinners. The greatest wasted potential is that those flashbacks didn't flesh out Vaggie's relationship with Adam and Lut. Her past was never truly explored. Like, seriously, did you learn anything new about Vaggie when watching her backstory? I know I didn't. There is so much information hidden from us that possibly will never get revealed because the writers didn't plan anything more for her than being Charlie's girlfriend. I wish they showed the kind of relationship she had with Lut. I know they hate each other, but I can't tell if they hated each other because of that incident or if they always hated each other. Did they not get along because Lut was jealous of Vaggie's talents? Could it be she actually used to love Vaggie, but felt deeply hurt by her betrayal? Or it could be Vaggie was the first to develop a grudge when she saw Lut mistreating her lover. Since we don't know enough, their current rivalry feels too flat, too one-dimensional. And what about Adam? What kind of relationship did she have with him? It appears that Adam has some respect for Vaggie. Despite his misogyny, he praised her for being one of his top soldiers, and he complimented her dating Charlie. I also realized something interesting about Vaggie. She never addresses Adam formally. She never calls him Sir as Lut does, and I assume everyone else in the army would also address Adam with formal titles. But Vaggie doesn't do that. She flat out calls him Adam and acts so casual around him. She doesn't treat him like he is her former boss. He feels like someone she used to know but is no longer on talking terms with. I think Vaggie and Adam as a concept can be very cool. Imagine if the writers used it to subvert the viewer's expectations about Adam, like he and Vaggie used to have a positive relationship, closer to a father-daughter or a mentor-mentee relationship, and similar to how comfortable and trusting Adam and Lut were with each other. But Vaggie's betrayal has soured the relationship and turned them into enemies. What if it was always inventable to Adam that Vaggie would fall because of their different ideals? The more Vaggie learns about hell, the more she debates with Adam about whether extermination is the best way to deal with the sinners. So Adam had grown distant from her. He would rather ruin this beautiful friendship than let go of his pride. We could have had the most heartbreaking relationship in the show, but it's on me to ever expect anything good from Hazbin Hotel. Even if the writers are still hell-bent on making Adam a one-dimensional villain, doesn't have to be this cheap and childish. The flashbacks are so boring. Like, yeah, I know he's evil. Yeah, get over it. He abused everyone. Okay, this is yesterday's news. But I need to understand why he is evil. What led him to this way? I'll be content with anything other than him being abusive for the sake of being abusive. How hard is it to let Vaggie interact with anyone other than Charlie? It's sad to see her utterly wasted, and sadder to know we already have all the necessary pieces to make Vaggie the best character in Hazbin Hotel. If only the writers bothered to pay attention to her. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, then thank you so much for giving me your time of day, and I hope nothing but good things happen to you. If you enjoyed watching, then please like and subscribe to let me know you're interested in seeing more of my content. And yeah, have a nice day, and bye bye!